Welcome into the Blurred Wire. It's your host, King Will, where we talk about all things movies, TV shows, video games, Marvel, Star Wars, Pokemon, you name it. And today we are diving into the finale of Daredevil Born Again. So for this episode, I'm going to try to focus on the finale. And I think I want to do another episode later on where I'll actually review the entire show, like as a cohesive series. But right now, I just want to focus on the finale, right? And first of all, major spoiler alert. Major spoiler alert. If you have not seen it, if you have not seen it, please go check it out. I don't want to be the one that spoils it for you because I know not everyone got a chance to see it yet. But for those of you that did, this was. I just got finished watching Invincible season 3 earlier, and this kind of reminded me of Invincible. And it was like, oh, wow, that's intense. This was, I mean, this is what everyone was clamoring for. But dare I say they went even like I just finished watching Punisher. And even Punisher felt like it wasn't as intense as Daredevil Born Again was. Like, I don't even think it was, at least this specific episode. They really went for it all. And they really wanted you to see how powerful and how intense Wilson Fisk is going to be, or truly is. And so it makes me wonder, like, so what happened in Echo? I think that's my biggest question. What was Echo? Like, what happened? Why did it? What did she do to Kingpin? Because it appears to not have worked or whatever. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, for the few people that watched Echo, I hate to say it like that. I mean, she did a great job in her role, Maya Lopez, but it just people didn't check it out. I think she would have been a better fit just as a role in Daredevil Born Again. But anyway, Maya Lopez played Echo, and in the series, at the end, she uses her native, like Choctaw Indi- native Choctaw powers to heal the pain from Kingpin's head of his mother and his father abusing him after he killed them. And technically, it would be like, oh, well, is he defeated now? And very clearly, he is not. And it like the man that crushed the head of the police commissioner does not look like a man who was healed from his pain and rage. So I don't really know what happened. Um, I don't really think Marvel. I think Kevin Feige or whoever's doing it is just like, let's just pretend that didn't happen. But I'm like, when they released Echo, or like when they were making Echo, they knew they wanted to do another Daredevil series with Kingpin. So I don't even know why you have the storyline of him being healed of his rage. And like, was he just fooling everyone? But like, nobody knew that he was healed of his rage. So why would he even need to have this storyline where it doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of storylines in Marvel that they're probably just dropping and pretending like never happened. And it severely muddies the waters. But that's my biggest takeaway. Kingpin was not healed, or he never was in the first place. I don't know how you want to describe it, but he definitely is still the rage machine that we all know and came to see when we saw Daredevil Born Again. So I like a lot of the. It was interesting how Muse ended up not being in the finale at all, and it feels like they originally had a bigger plan for Muse, and it feels like it kind of just got smaller, and they realized we want to focus on Kingpin, on Bullseye, on the Daredevil villains, and obviously they want to focus a lot on Punisher because everybody loves John Bernthal's performance as Punisher. And I watched the Punisher show and it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it, but I think that John Bernthal's Punisher, like the little buddy cop scene that we almost kind of got at the end, where Daredevil and Punisher were fighting off all these cops, and Daredevil refused to kill the guy that killed Hector Ayala, and the Punisher just goes, "Oh, what? So this guy matters?" Bap bap, just like, and it's like it was brutal, right? Like, taking of life should ever be just like dropped with that, but it's like that's the kind of dynamic we could have done that for an entire season, and we kind of already got that in Daredevil season 2, but they were more adversarial. But like, if they hadn't changed the narrative to where they kind of had to work together, that would have been a lot more that would have been interesting and cool to see, because it would have provided like humor but in a way that's not forced, because It was actually funny how Frank was like, "This guy killed Hector. He needs to die." He's just relentlessly murdering people, cops, corrupt cops, and Daredevil's beating them like to smithereens, but he's trying very hard not to kill them. Right, like he's actively working to not kill them. They're using lethal force on him, but Daredevil's not using it. And Punisher's like, screw that, just bop, 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 bop. Because that's what Punisher does. So I think John Bernthal's character Punisher, he works better in a vacuum, like in other people's stories, because it's just kind of the anti-hero. It's kind of hard to frame an entire storyline around an anti-hero because anti-heroes, you're supposed to not really agree with them, but they're also not the villain, right? Like they're not the villain, but you're also not supposed to agree with them. So we're not supposed to agree with Punisher just killing everybody that he doesn't like. But we are also is supposed to remember that he's on the side of justice, right? Like he's on the side of some things are bad and I'm going to kill the bad people. Even when they give him the opportunity, like it was kind of interesting to see all those cops because like they even after he killed like five of them, and then they offered him a spot to be like, hey, you could be one of us. We idolize you. Um, and he was basically like, screw off. And it's like, at what point does Frank Castle make the distinction between what those cops were doing and what he was doing, right? Because those cops just started going around killing people that were criminals and mass vigilantes. And that's exactly what Frank Castle does. But Frank Castle looked at him and was like, nah, screw you. You're working for Kingpin. And it's like, well, Frank, who are you? Like, so you just get to decide who's bad and who's good? That's a very interesting, like, that kind of, I think the most interesting that happened in this finale could have been played out throughout the entire series, or it could have been played out between like I want to see a conversation between Daredevil and Punisher. Like I would have loved to see if Matt Murdock was there while they were trying to recruit Punisher to their little cop Punishers, I guess, Because again, Frank puts down criminals. A lot of the cops want to have the ability to be able to put down criminals. So it works. And and it's different the type of I think I'm gonna go back and watch Daredevil season two, and then I'm gonna watch Born again, because I think you really got to understand the dynamic between Daredevil and Punisher a lot more. And so it feels like they kind of teetered between. It feels like they had two different storylines, right? And it feels like they ended up going for this one where Daredevil and Punisher. They ended up. It feels like they were going through like a storyline that was going to mainly revolve around Muse. Like I said, that episode. I guess I am kind of reviewing the series, but I'm gonna try not to. It feels like Muse was originally supposed to be bigger, right? And it feels like he was kind of supposed to be at the end, and then they kind of. I think you can tell that it's been revamped. And it's not hard, and they didn't get rid of everything. You could just tell that they revamped it and changed it and made it so that it's going to need a part two. Um, and I think that was by design. And so it definitely felt like it was, setting up the pitch for something much more intense in Daredevil Born Again. And like this is the kind of thing that I would have wanted. Kingpin is mayor, enacts martial law, cops are in charge, and Kingpin's in charge of the cops. Um, and if it had they played it out in the bigger Marvel storyline, it would have worked out so much better if it was during the time when like Secret Invasion aliens were declared as combatants, and then if the registration came back up, and if Thunderbolt Ross was also pushing all of this anti-superhero, because and that's why he wouldn't bring the Feds in to end martial law in New York, and New York could be like the last place, and then we could see all that culminate in Spider-Man 4. But I did learn from Vincent D'Onofrio himself. He actually came and told me, I'm just kidding. In an interview, he revealed that because Kingpin first appeared in the Spider-Man comic, he's not allowed to appear in Marvel movies. Kingpin can't appear in Marvel movies. So that's why he can only be on the series because I guess Sony only bought the television, the movie rights, I believe, not necessarily television rights, which is why when Daredevil reverted back, they were able to make a TV show about it on Netflix. So that kind of sucks. But I'm also like, there's two things. Like, first of all the Spider-Man movies have all been distributed by Sony. They are all Sony movies. They are just produced by Marvel Studios. So Sony pays Marvel Studios to produce these movies, and Sony keeps all the cuts, right? And Disney probably doesn't love it but that's the way it goes. So like one of their most profitable franchises, all that money is going to Sony. No Way Home almost grossed 2 billion. That's all Sony's money, even though it was in the MCU. So my question would be like, well, Kingpin could still be in Spider-Man because that's still technically a Sony movie. So I don't know what the issue with that would be, but either way, you could tell that they're planning on doing a part two for Daredevil Born Again, and this feels like it was the wind up for the pitch to knock it out of the park. Like this was the setup, and then they're gonna for their part two. That's probably gonna be very very explosive. Um, so we'll probably get more information on it. I'm really excited to see season two. One of my favorite Daredevil seasons, I have to say, is season three. Even though I mean, season one is still incredible, and I do love John Bernthal's Punisher. But man, I love Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. He is fantastic, and we got a lot of him. But I'm almost still like we still didn't get enough for the way the story ended up going. Right, like the way this story ended up going, I probably would have removed Muse completely, or made him a little bit more of the focal point for whatever reason. So that's just kind of my 2 cents. But let me know what you thought of the finale. Did you like it? Are you a fan of? Are you excited for? Are you a fan? Of course you're a fan. That's why you're here. Are you excited for what Marvel has in store for Daredevil Born Again in the future? Do you think it's going to get better? Do you think that yeah, and just what do you think is going to happen in part two of season two? Because basically we left off. Kingpin has enacted martial law against all the vigilantes, um, and he used that attack. And I'm kind of curious to. I think the attack on his life by Vanessa was staged, and even though it looked like Bullseye was trying to shoot Vanessa or Kingpin, I think that was part of the plan in order to get an event where he could say like a vigilante tried to take my life, so now I'm going to enact martial law. So I think that's very interesting. So yeah, we'll have to see that. And so let me know your thoughts about all of it. And yeah, until next time.